David Wall. If you would please take a seat, state your name and address for the record.
My name is David S. Wall. My address is P.O. Box 756, Newburgh, Oregon 97132. First of all, good morning to everybody in attendance today, and I hope you're having a good day. First thing I'd like to talk about is economic development ideas for you, Mr. Chair. First up on the docket would be, how much land does the county have that could be contracted with Recology should they get the contract for garbage hauling in McMinnville? Also, a secondary function of this land would be used for an incredibly large-size composting operation. This is to start eliminating a tradition in Oregon of burning yard waste. These urban growth boundaries, unfortunately, have expanded and have encroached to the detriment of Oregon's agricultural lands, practices, and cultures. However, in agricultural lands that are adjacent to these residential areas, these industrialized burning piles are very contentious, and a whole new area of tort law, if it doesn't already exist, is going to come forward with smoke damage to people's houses and lungs and what have you. And I think that preparing for a massive yard waste program that is free to encourage people to drop off their materials, because people are getting gouged up here in Oregon all over the place with property taxes. The other issue that deals with land and also will provide employment opportunities is a zero waste recycling facility where you recycle everything. I mean, coming from California to Oregon, you would think Oregon is the paragon of environmental virtue. That is not the case, and sadly it is not the case, as well as this river bend thing has plagued you and will continue to plague you. Now, with reference to this this push by Commissioner Sterrett's neighbors for this gated community, this is putting both of you remaining commissioners in a very bad way, because even though this may be harmless, it opens a whole litany of future gated communities throughout Yamhill County. 2 of them in my neighborhood alone. And I wish if I could get away with it, put a gated community on Benjamin Road, because there's no sheriffs out there, and all sorts of violations of Oregon's traffic laws are endemic. And there's memos in there today that speak for themselves, and I'll speak again at a later time. Lastly, it would be my prayer and wish that you convey my gratitude and thanks to the attorney for all his extracurricular activities in reference to keeping us from burning to death in the Newburgh Rural Fire Protection District. Thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you. Okay. I have no other intent to speak cards, so we will move to item B on our agenda. That is our consent agenda, and I would accept a motion.
Mr. Chair, I will make the motion that we approve all the items currently listed under item B, the consent agenda.
All right, it has been moved that we accept the consent agenda as it is listed. Any further discussion?
No discussions?
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show that Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Primzich both voted aye on the consent agenda. Moving then to item C on the agenda is old business, and I see none listed. Item D. This is other business. These are add-ons or non-consent agenda items to the agenda. And the first one is consideration of approval of Amendment Number 1, Board Order 16-13 for the Local Government Grant Program Agreement between Yamhill County and the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department, revised completion date of December 31st, 2017. And I would move that we approve this item.
Mr. Chair, being that is only a date amendment, pushing out the date for completion, I will accept your move. I'm ready for the vote.
It has been moved that we approve item 1 under section D. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show that both Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Primizic voted aye. Moving to item 2 under section D, consideration of approval of amendment number 2 to the purchase and sale and donation agreement between Yamhill County and the Union Pacific Railroad Company, Board Order 17-336, to extend time for the buyer's board approval to October 26th, 2017, to extend the closing date to November 10th, 2017. And again, this is dealing with the purchase of the right-of-way, which we've already moved forward with. It's just to extend the time necessary for the Board of UP to accept that.
I'll move that we approve.
Yeah, it's actually to allow an extension of time for the Yamhill County Board to provide its final approval.
Right.
And then extend the final closing date to the 10th.
I'll make a motion we approve.
It's been moved that we approve this. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Let the record show both Commissioner Primizic and Commissioner Olson voted aye. Moving now to number 3 under section D, consideration of approval of the final buyer's board approval of the purchase and sale and donation agreement between Yamhill County and the Union Pacific Railroad Company, Board Order 17-336. And again,
Yeah, this is
Counsel.
the final condition on our side prior to closing. It's
Okay.
the board's final approval.
okay. Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to go on record once again stating that no matter what happens with that property, conceivably, I mean, it's probably going to be a trail, but it's been my long stance that we separate the purchase of the property from the trail, and so I think this does that. So I'm willing to make a recommendation that we approve the final buyers for the purchase and site donation agreement between Yamhill County and Union Pacific Railroad Company.
Thank you. It has been moved that we approve this item 3 under section D. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's approved, so let the record show both Commissioner Primizic and Commissioner Olson voted aye. Item number 4, consideration of approval of Resolution 17-10-26-1, proclaiming November as National Runaway Prevention Month in Yamhill County. And I am going to read the resolution into the record. In the matter of a resolution proclaiming November as National Runaway Prevention Month in Yamhill County, Resolution 17-10-26-1. Whereas the future well-being of our nation is dependent upon the value we place on young people, we must provide opportunities for youth to acquire the knowledge, skills, and abilities to develop into healthy, productive adults by enlisting families and other adults to serve as mentors and role models, guiding them toward wise choices and available resources. And whereas young people with the least access to these resources and support are those in runaway and homeless situations, in our country, between 1.6 and 2.8 million youth run away in a one-year period. Across Yamhill County, over 120 runaway and homeless youth have been identified during the past year end. And whereas by working together to bring awareness, resources, and communication, we can prevent the situation that compel youth to run away. And whereas the first step in prevention is gaining an understanding of the facts and then empowering families and communities to aid our nation's youth in protecting themselves and assuring them of the resources and support necessary for their success. Finally, we must challenge adults to act as mentors and role models, guiding them toward available resources and wise choices. And whereas we support the efforts of the community-based, faith-based, and public organizations in Yamhill County who who are working diligently to increase public awareness, advocate on behalf of, and provide positive and safe alternatives to runaway and homeless youth and their families. Now therefore let it be resolved, the Yamhill County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim November as National Runaway Prevention Month in Yamhill County, Oregon, and in doing so encourage all citizens of Yamhill County to join in supporting young people who have run away or who are at risk of doing so by personal relationships, teaching skills that promote positive life choices, provide a safety net of trusted individuals and resources, and being available as they transition to adulthood. Done this 26th day of October, 2017. I would move that we approve the proclamation. Any discussion?
No discussion?
Okay. So it is moved that we approve the proclamation of declaring November as National Runaway Prevention Month. And all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show both Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Primozic voted aye. Okay, moving to item number 4 under D. Consideration of approval of the temporary reduction of the speed limit for 120 days on Willamina Creek Road due to the recent rock slide in accordance with ORS 810.180.8. And I know you're here to speak to this, Mr. Wilson?
Sure. Yes, the Public Works Department is seeking approval for the emergency speed reduction on this section of Willamina Creek Road as a result of the slide that took place there pre-dawn Sunday morning. We think it'll make a safer travel situation because it's pretty apparent that the slide probably is not finished moving when it come down.
Okay. And I appreciate you being here to discuss this. I went out there yesterday to observe, and I understand Commissioner Olson did the same thing. And yesterday, I noticed that the signs were in place as per emergency, and the cars were still going by there at a tremendous rate of speed, which is really scary. When you look at the size of those rocks, they were bigger than some of the cars that were flying by them. I mean, it is, if somebody came around that corner and met one of those, it would be a disaster. And I really appreciate Public Works getting out there, moving the rocks were all over the road. And I can't imagine the danger that imposed. Fortunately, the Hampton Lumber people got out there and started
They sprang
hand
into
directing.
action, as I understand it, and
Yes.
kept people safe till we got out there. We
Right.
arrived on the scene probably 7:30 or 8, and we were able to move all
Yeah.
the rocks off the road. And I think what saved us was probably being a pre-dawn Sunday morning and virtually no traffic, so.
Certainly took out that power pole.
Yeah, in fact, the road was actually closed even after we got the rock cleared off for most of the day because PGE spent most of Sunday repairing the power poles and reattaching lines.
And that is that we're going to continue working with Hampton to attempt to eliminate the danger that ridge poses.
Yeah, as I understand it, they own property the other side of the road where the rock came down for just a few hundred feet, and so it was their hillside that came down.
So, and you're going to get all the signing done. I would really suggest possibly that we put a slide area or a sign indicating that along with the reduced speed.
Well, at the terminus of each end of the current speed zone, I did install yesterday, watch for falling rocks.
Okay.
And besides replacing all the 35 with 25, I also added another 25 at the midway point between the beginning and the terminus of the speed zone out there, which is about 7/10 of a mile in all.
Yeah. Okay, great.
So I think we're pretty well covered.
And I know we're putting barriers along that slide area, but I was amazed at the size of those
Could have been
rocks.
bad.
It could have been serious. If a car had been coming through there at that time, we would be talking about a different situation here. So I appreciate you getting out and getting that taken care of. Thank you. So I would entertain a motion to approve this request.
I have a clarification question for staff, if you, Mr. Chair. And I guess this would go to our legal counsel. Looking at 810-180, being that we're doing this immediately, is this one of those that we actually, as part of our approval, have to declare an emergency? Is so it doesn't wait the 30 days, that it's done immediately?
I don't know. I can take a look. I suspect if you want to go ahead and do that now, you could do it.
Because I would like to add that
On
to the,
precaution.
I would recommend, just to be safe, that when we approve that, we add "and declaring emergency."
Yeah, I think, isn't that item 8, isn't that part of the?
I think that's part of it, our
Or
actual,
is-
our
okay.
actual
But I have
consideration
no problem
approval
with
doesn't
adding
state
that
it, so.
to the
I can go back and
motion.
confirm, but if you want to go ahead and do that now, then we'll have that on the
Sure.
record.
Okay, yeah, so I'd
Okay.
like to add that to
Okay.
the approval.
So let the record show that the motion is being made to approve this with the addition of declaring an emergency due to the dangerous situation. So if you could add that, then I would ask, all in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Let the record show that both Commissioner Olson and Commissioner Premzich voted yes to approval of this request for signage. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The next item, item number 6, is consideration of approval of the payment for 2017-2018 Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Governments membership and economic development fees in the amount of $18,278. And I would make a motion that we approve this. The Council of Governments is I think, a very effective tool for us to use in the larger scope of governing, and utilizing their resources can be of a great assist to our own staff. We do have a new executive director of COG, and I think Sean is going to bring an energy to that group that will provide benefit for all of us. So I'm anxious to go ahead, approve this. As I indicated in our earlier conversation, I think we should identify those areas that we believe we should be receiving a great deal of benefit from, and monitor, and then we can maybe mid-year have some discussion with COG to make sure that we're on track with receiving the things that we judge we should be receiving. So with that, I would move that we approve this payment.
Mr. Chair, I will go ahead and I will vote aye on that with, as say, the caveat that we will be monitoring that to ensure. And I'd also like to add that I believe not just COG, but several of our memberships we should take a look at hopefully in the next year or so before they come due, to make sure we're getting the value of all of our contracts. But since you made the motion, I'm ready to vote on that item.
Okay. So all in favor of number 6 under D, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Again, let the record show that Commissioner Premzich, Commissioner Olson both voted yes. So moving on to item E, public hearings, and we have none scheduled for today. Any announcements? Commissioner Olson, do you have announcements to make today?
The only announcement I have, if anybody's free and wants to observe tomorrow, I know tomorrow is the Arts Congress at Chehalem Park Center, or the Chehalem Cultural Center. I think the arts in Yamhill County are great for livability, but they also play a big part in our economic development and what we can provide to our cities. So I would encourage anybody that has some time. Tomorrow it goes from 9 to 3, and to go over and either participate or observe that Arts Congress that's happening in Newburgh tomorrow.
Appreciate that. And be sure and come early because I'm doing the opening address and you wouldn't want to miss that.
You mean I have to follow you? Mine comes after you? Oh, wow.
Okay. No, I think it's very critical that we support the arts and culture. It's a tremendous driver of economics, and so thank you for mentioning that. With that, we